wouldn't be normal if there wasn't an issue, tech issue.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? We are live here at Nervous Dog Coffee Bar here in West Akron. Nervous Dog Coffee Bar has been one of Akron's biggest small coffee shops over the last 10 years and plus. With several locations, they continue to create a unique and high-quality coffee experience. From the wide variety of coffee and espresso drinks to the large selection of take-home coffee beans, they are a coffee bar that has a little bit of something for everyone. And so joining us today in the cozy West Akron area, as you can see, location, is CJ and Rob. Thanks for being here on live with us after a little trial and error, but we finally got it. Kind of like I touched a little bit in the intro, Nervous Dog has a few different locations, right? 4, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe tell me a little bit about where those different locations are and kind of if they're different or if they're designed to be the same or what's from place to place maybe.
Yeah, so this one here is the original one, open about 12 years ago now, coming up on. And it's the first one, most original, just like all drinks and pastries. Started out very small. And then a few years later, the one in Stowe off of Steel Corners was opened up. That one is a little bit different just because it's more open, there's a little bit more seating in there. They have sandwiches in a drive-thru, so it's a little more hustle and bustle, like got a lot of guys in ties coming through and grabbing their coffee and running. And then, even later than that, we opened up Beechwood by the mall.
About a year and a half ago.
Year and a half already.
Yeah.
It's quick.
Wow.
But yeah, that one is actually in La Place, which is like a plaza next to the mall. So that one again is a little more in and out than here. And then just about 6 months ago, the Montrose location.
Actually, 7.
7 months. 7 months ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one just opened up. It's where the old Starbucks was.
Yeah, that place. That place that we won't mention.
But yeah, the other 3 locations all have sandwiches. A little more put together. This one's the most established, obviously. But,
It's the most well run, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Would you say they're kind of designed in a way that's kind of fits the community that they're in with a little bit? Like I noticed the Fairlawn one is a little bit more, I don't know, clean, maybe like businessy. This one seems like a little more.
Sure. I think in the situation with Montrose in particular, and actually Beechwood as well, they were both chain coffee shops before we moved in.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of all the things that chains spend a lot of money researching and doing that was just left there because it was like, well, it's probably this way for a reason. The neighborhoods and the demographic for all the shops is probably a little different. And with that being said, the shops do kind of each individually have some autonomy regarding carrying certain things or not carrying things just based on who's coming in and what they're buying.
Yeah.
So I think we try to set up a similar vibe at all of them regardless, but it's really all the customers that come in kind of create a
takes on it.
for itself.
Yeah, it takes on its own personality.
For sure.
Yeah. So maybe this would be a question for you, Rob. If you, CJ, go ahead and chime in. But
it's his turn, so he has to.
The name Nervous Dog. I don't know. What's the story behind that?
Oh, geez. I think there's 4 different stories
Yeah, there are
I've
a lot
heard
of
from the
origin
owner, Michael.
stories.
Okay.
I don't know which one to tell. The one I like the most, which I don't know if this is, I don't know if he's going to watch this, but
He's not.
what I heard was that he was just like touring Ireland or something after he was
In school or something.
Who is he?
Yeah.
Michael,
The owner, Michael Litt.
Okay.
From now on, if you hear us say Michael, we're talking about the owner.
yeah.
I imagine that'll keep
The
happening.
infamous Michael. No. But yeah, I guess he was there for some reason, and he was going to all these pubs and bars, and they were all some sort of adjective and then an animal, like the thirsty armadillo or the, crusty crab, essentially. So he was like, oh, coffee, and I like dogs, and coffee makes you nervous, so Nervous Dog, naturally. So that's the one that I remember the most, and there's some other ones. And then sometimes he'll just say that there isn't a reason.
I think there used to be a record label that he liked called Nervous Dog Records. That's another one I had heard.
Oh, nice. Interesting.
Fun fact, though, about those pub names, just to throw this out there. Because, like CJ said, that was the idea, was Michael said he was able to kind of envision Nervous Dog hanging off in front of a building, the way that you see the signs perpendicular to the walls.
Yep.
But the pub names are like that because before the literacy rate was very high, businesses wanted to be able to let people know what they were. So to have quite literally a king's head on the front of your building, you're going to the king's head. You don't need to read that that's what it is.
Sure.
So that's my fun pub fact.
No, I like that. I actually was going to ask you like how that all tied in, but so that's perfect. Kind of moving on to, so you guys have different like roasts and different beans and varieties from like the light. You have a scale back there even too. Kind of tell us about the different roasts of beans, and then also different flavors of all your different signature drinks. Like you have the summer cocktails that I see on the window back there. Maybe talk about first maybe the different roasts, because you guys, I mean, for a lot of the coffee places that I've been to, it's one of the biggest varieties that I've seen. Maybe talk a little bit about that. And you guys roast, right?
We do not actually.
Oh, no? Oh, okay.
I think when Michael first started,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But we don't currently. I think there are a few reasons for that. One of which being we wouldn't be able to keep up with our own demand without a dedicated roasting facility.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, for the most part, we have 3 true dark roasts that are roasted to varying degrees, being a Viennese roast, a French roast, an Italian roast, in order of lightest dark to darkest dark. And then the rest of them are kind of on a more kind of not super widely varying spectrum. So sure, some are lighter than others, but they're all kind of what you would call a city roast.
Okay.
The idea with a city roast is it's basically the darkest you could roast a bean before you impart roast flavor on it. So the idea is that you're still only tasting the origin that coffee came from and not tasting the roast that people have elected to do. So just depending on the origin, that darkness varies a little bit, and the city roast as just a thing has a bit of a scale to it, but for the most part they're all within there. We don't really have any true super light roasts, but we certainly have some lighter roasts.
Yeah. I think your house roast is my favorite, at least one of my favorite house roasts
Awesome.
ever. I mean, like all the places I go to. It's kind of like a blend, right?
Yeah, and even that one though is on the darker side of things.
Yeah. And so we're kind of like a newer show, pretty young, episode number 4 as well. And so we're trying to cover. I'm not a coffee expert by any means yet, but part of
get there.
Exactly. That's like part of the heart of the show is to learn as they go along and educate some of our audience as well that might not know. And so maybe go a little bit of the flavor spectrum with the roasting, like light to dark.
Realistically, for me, I don't know enough about the roasting process on its own to tell you exactly why you may roast a certain coffee darker or lighter, apart from just those roast flavors, as far as kind of toastiness or like a caramelized sugar kind of thing. It's just not a world I've really dived into too much.
Sure.
I recently started very crudely roasting at home just for fun, and so I could set off some oak alarms and freak people out. Realistically, that's not.
But so like typically like a dark roast, how is it? Is it like more sweeter usually, or just depend on the?
You're just going to get a lot more, for lack of a better word, roasty qualities. You're going to get that sort of. It's perceived as being a bolder flavor. Where with a light roast, you're not going to really have that punch of like coffee. You'll get a little more nuance regarding where exactly the coffee comes from and what the origin contributes flavor. So, not to say that it's all people ever do with the dark roast, but a lot of times for, say, fast food chains or lower quality coffee, people will tend to just have dark roast because it masks a lesser quality coffee to begin with.
Okay.
So you're able to kind of cover up what a taste you may find undesirable by basically just burning it away.
Yeah. Kind of roasting a little bit longer.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I think it's recently you guys added the Nitro Dog, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us what that is a little bit, maybe. I know it's like a cold brew Nitro, right? But like, what is that? It's gonna maybe kind
You
of.
want to take that? Or?
I'll take it.
All right, do it.
Cool. So yeah, we have had for a long time just like a regular cold brew that we do. It's 15 hours, which Rob actually does all of it now.
Not anymore.
It's not 15 anymore? I don't even know how to do it anymore. That's how much Rob does it.
I just lock myself alone in a room and just after some time I
Cry
come
a
out
little
with
bit.
kegs, I swing them around. It's great.
Nice.
But yeah, so the Nitro is just taking that cold brew and then adding nitrogen to it through the kegerators that we have, our fancy kegerators. Which what it does is just gives it, a nitrogen in it that it'll then cascade into a head, so it gives it a creamier consistency, like a Guinness or like a stout would that is nitrogenated. So the idea is to have a creamier like mouthfeel and taste to it, so that you don't have to add any cream or sugar or anything like that, which people still will. But really the point of that head is so that you don't have to.
Yeah.
The idea is just that rather than tasting in terms of like effervescence or in this case nitrogenation, rather than tasting something that is flat, just like water or whatever liquid you want to choose, there's now nitrogen in solution with the water that kind of makes this whole new texture.
Yeah.
The thing that I always mention to people who are wondering like what does that do, is it beer, etc., is I just say, if you've ever seen or had a Guinness on tap, it's the same idea. Texturally, it's the same idea.
And so, like, what kind of is there like a specific type of coffee you use for that?
So right now I'm just making the cold brew that we have,
Yeah. Okay.
and it's the same thing in both kegs on that side of the kegerator. Just one has nitrogen in solution, and one just has nitrogen pushing it out.
Gotcha.
So right now that's what it is. I've been kind of toying around with different things, and I think we're going to probably stick with our house as far as what we make our cold brew with. But occasionally I have some ideas for kind of one-off things or seasonal things or just kind of more, I don't know, developed stuff.
Yeah.
But I mostly work at our Montrose store, and I've put a few random kegs on of different stuff just kind of for fun. But yeah.
Experimenting a little bit.
Yeah, just to see what people like, and if something gets enough support behind it, then it's like, well, maybe switch paths.
Yeah, and give people what they want, right?
Yeah.
So I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I don't know if I heard any specific answers. So like, what kind of like specialty espresso drinks? I know like the bonfire I saw was one. I asked about that. Like in like summer cocktails, I have a matcha latte. I think our producer had a apple pie drink that he was drinking. Nice.
It's apple coffee. I mean, I don't know how
Apple
to say that.
coffee.
I'm not used to that kind of stuff, right? So, I'm being cultured, all right? So
Sure.
tell us about the
Yeah,
apple
tell-
coffee.
yeah,
How
maybe-
does that, and again, we're not asking for trade secrets, right? But what's the general? What am I drinking? All right.
Expound upon.
I don't think we could give you trade secrets for that. Yeah, it's just your average latte, steamed milk and espresso. Then the apple pie is specifically Ghirardelli caramel sauce, apple Torani syrup, and brown sugar cinnamon Torani syrup, making it like an apple pie,
It's close. It's good.
minus the crust, really.
Yeah, it's good.
True.
Yeah.
What kind of other drinks are you guys known? Like, do you have like specialty drinks you're known for that people are like, that's the Nervous Dog drink that I come for?
Depends who
Yeah,
you talk
it's-
to.
yeah,
really.
it does.
Yeah,
it
it's
does.
probably pretty
It-
specific.
It's just like, everyone's got their usual at whatever bar they frequent. It's the same deal with coffee shops.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see people parking their car and getting out of their car, and you're like,
Yeah,
all right,
coming.
get the medium 4-shot latte ready, or whatever it is. So just different people like different things. I think one thing in particular that we do that I think especially for a local business is a little bit different, and I think part of what people like about what we do is nowadays a lot of kind of the third wave and kind of hipper coffee shops do everything really, really light. And regardless of if you do like that or if you don't like that, it's a thing, it's a style. but it's its own.
Yeah.
We're a little more traditional as far as our espresso roast is more dark, and it's a blend. It's not a single origin, and our house blend is a little dark. So we kind of lean that way a little bit, and other shops don't. And not that there's anything wrong or great about either of those. It's just part of life's rich tapestry. You can choose whatever you want.
Yeah. You mentioned like the third wave. I've been learning a little bit about that, and I find it pretty cool, interesting how like Nervous Dog has kind of been there since at least around here from the beginning, as far as it comes like coffee shops other than that other place. And like when I was looking for different places, this is one of the first places I saw. But I think the way like you guys, maybe you guys can speak to this a little bit, but the way you guys kind of reinvent yourself is like with the Montrose location, with the different locations, you don't necessarily change your vision or your what you're founded on, but you kind of adapt, maybe depending on your location, and like as just like you said, as like that new wave comes on, you adapt a little bit with that, but still staying true to kind of the tradition set that you guys did,
Right.
which I like.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think you obviously have to pay attention to whatever industry you're in. You have to pay attention to what's going on in that industry, and if nothing else, you have to consider it.
Sure.
But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for having something going on that people are interested in, and then it's I think smart that when you're looking to innovate your product line or add something new or whatever it is, that you look to things you maybe already carry or things you could vary their purpose for. It just keeps that common thread through everything because it's something familiar.
I feel like too, it's just important to incorporate the new trendy ideas, whatever they are, instead of trying to replace old ideas, because we always have our house and our espresso blend's been the same and it's popular, but we have things like nitro or like a new idea that like someone could walk in the door because they see we have that, but that person that's been coming here for 11 years that wants their house cup of coffee can get that no matter what.
Sure.
So I mean, I feel like that's the biggest thing, especially at this location, because it is a lot of, I know who's coming in the door, what time they're coming, so it's like, they're here every day. So
Yeah. That seems like the nitro that's a newer thing, right? Part of it.
Yeah, I've seen it kind of in bigger cities for a handful of years now, but it's definitely newer around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just really wanted to. We've been talking about doing it for a long time, and opening Montrose was a good excuse to buy a kegerator.
Yeah.
And then seeing how well it did was the best excuse to buy more of them.
I'm always looking for a good reason to buy a kegerator.
Exactly. We ended up with one for our office just because, while we were buying them, I was like, well, we should just put one here.
Right? No, I love it. So I talked a little bit about like the vision aspect of it. So I noticed like it's kind of everywhere. I think it's outside on the patio, the come, sit, stay. You guys want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory and
It's like built into the Nervous Dog theme, right?
right. Yeah, it's
pretty creative.
the dog. You have a well-behaved dog and knows how to come sit and stay. But the bigger idea is that we're not trying to be this in-and-out coffee shop. Get your coffee, get out. Like we don't have time. Come on, get out of here. It's more like have a cup of coffee, sit down for a little while, do what you got to do. If you want another one, great. If you just fill in some space, getting some work done, that's fine. We're not gonna come sit and stay. Like we want it to be a comfortable environment where people are welcome, as opposed to that like hustle and bustle, like get in, get out kind of thing. Which if you want to do that, that's fine too. But yeah, it's try to make it as homey as possible, where you can come and sit and stay for a while.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Starbucks now is intentionally building terrible parking lots with a drive-through through the middle of them. Because if the drive-through line is long enough and you're parked, you can't get out. So I think they're just encouraging people like just go through the drive-through. We don't come in here. It's a headache for you, and we don't really want it.
Yeah.
So and obviously they're a very successful business, so you can't say anything too bad.
Right, that's
about
true.
them.
Yeah.
But
you said from the start that's not like that's not part of their vision, the goal, what you're trying. Like that's fine and that's okay, but it's just not the vision here.
It's not what we're trying to do.
I think apart from the idea of quite literally serving coffee, I don't know that any of the location managers or Michael really consider us to be directly competing with Starbucks.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like CJ said, it's just come and hang out. Even, Montrose was a challenge because it's narrow and small, but
Yeah.
we knocked out a wall to put a window in so it was a little more open. We expanded the seating there, so we like it when people are in there hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's almost like what you just said. It's almost like the opposite here because you have to walk around the seating area.
Yeah.
To go get your drink, and then it's just like even though it's a little bit small, it still feels like super cozy and like welcoming and like this is one of my favorite places just like to do work because of that reason. One thing I forgot to ask too. I'm glad we're talking about this though. You guys sometimes at this location, I don't know about other locations, you have like open mics and like events, things like that.
Yeah. It is mostly here. Is Stowe even doing much anymore?
I'm not sure. I think they do sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Jeremy question. I have no
Right.
idea.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it happens here most often, I would say. It's still a little sporadic and random. The open mic is every first Wednesday of the month, which it hasn't like taken off to anything crazy or big yet. But we do have people come in and do whatever. Even if it's one person, it's like, yeah, we can set up the mic or you can play however long you want. So that's the thing too. It's very lax. Like it doesn't. If you want to play, we'll turn off the music. No one's
Right.
ever like upset. And we have been doing it's externally promoted more than we are doing it, but it's a poetry night,
Oh yeah.
and I would have to go look at the flyer to tell you what day, but it is a Friday. I think it's the last Friday of the month.
Okay.
But that's actually been having a good turnout lately.
Nice.
And then other than that, it's like, if there's a local like singer-songwriter, wants an hour to play, yeah, sure, Friday's open, great, put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do try to keep that community vibe going on.
That's cool. Yeah, I like it. I've been wanting to make it out to one of those nights. See the poetry scene in Akron's been picking up lately also.
Yeah.
So this may be kind of like a general question, but I feel like it's a good question to ask for Nervous Dog specifically. Like, there's that stigma of like the coffee snob, right? Like, oh well, I just drink my Folgers in the morning or whatever. Oh, you drink that coffee. It's like so how do we like as coffee communities avoid that coffee snob stigma?
I feel like you have strong feelings about that.
It's only because you think I'm a snob, CJ.
Well,
That's not fair.
yeah,
So, I mean, with that being said, the idea of a snob of any variety is just because the word snob has a negative connotation.
Right.
I think regardless of the thing you're doing or that you like, knowing more about it and wanting something that you think is of higher quality should be a natural response to liking something. With that being said, the way someone carries themselves and treats other people,
yeah.
I think goes a
That's
long
where
way.
Yeah,
the negative
yeah,
part
yeah.
comes from sometimes.
But I think especially
Type in a monocle.
you get the Monopoly guy in here, he's a nightmare. But especially when you're talking coffee, it's such a habitual and almost like ritualistic thing for people that sometimes people do only want their one thing because this is part of my morning and I come in here and I get this and then I go over there and I grab these many sugars and it's a whole situation that gets you in the mindset for whatever it is you're doing. So if you're talking snobbery as far as I will only do this, it's just part of what people do, I think.
Yeah.
If you're talking snobbery of someone coming in and going like, oh, what region are these from? Oh, no. I mean, that's just like, you're just at the wrong place.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not, We're way more casual of a company than that, as much as I think you could walk in here and ask our employees kind of technical and specific questions and they'll have a thoughtful answer for you. This isn't, we haven't bred the kind of culture within our company that would really be conducive to those people coming in and, that sort of thing.
I think it's starting to go away a little bit also, not as much as it used to be. Like if I tell like my grandma that I drink Nervous Dog coffee, if she knows a little bit more about the Akron area and sees like she might even know the name Nervous Dog because it's been around a little bit longer. And like especially in this area, as it's growing more, I think that like stigma of you don't just drink that coffee, or even like Starbucks being so more well known. It's like okay, I accept that.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So I think the thing to do with that is just as any industry evolves, you either have the, for lack of a better word, purists,
Yeah.
or you just have an older generation
Sure.
That, like, if I tell my grandfather, like, oh yeah, I'm drinking a platform speed merchant, he's like, what? Why would you do that? It sounds terrifying. So it could just be an unfamiliarity more than anything.
Right, sure. All right, so we have a giveaway to give away tonight. We've been kind of promoting it. We're going to give it away live on the air. I have some things from Compass Coffee, from Akron Coffee Roasters, and I believe you guys are going to throw in a little something just to sweeten the
We are.
The pie?
I was going to give that to you, and then I kind of forgot, but that's okay.
No, yeah,
we'll get it
we'll
later.
So we will go to our randomization process through our producer, and
Fancy.
A randomization process.
I don't know exactly what that process is, but he's going to go ahead and give us the winner, and the winner is... This is my lame drum roll.
Jen Ashton.
Jen Ashton.
Jen Ashton.
Jen Ashton. So if you are watching, Jen, as you should be, because the winner was going to be announced, and you are part of this contest, please message us your information, and we'll get that prize packet out to you. It's a pretty sweet packet. I hope you're from the Akron area because it's all Akron coffee places. So Jen Ashton, if we don't hear from you, we'll contact you in 24 hours. So,
Congrats, Jen.
all right, good job, Jen. Yeah, thanks for the shares, and yeah. So kind of talked about the community a little bit. Before I get to that, I mentioned that we're kind of a young show, and so I try to throw these in there. I want to try to get some more format to our show. A basic coffee question of the day. So it's like something that I feel like most people know, but some people might not know. So, what is like a shot of espresso? Like, what does that mean?
You take it. You're going to explain it better than I do.
I think it's what it sounds like. Are you trying to? That's a hard one.
Yeah. Is it like condensed coffee?
Is this?
or
Hold on. What's the question for that? This is like.
what's that?
Is this a question you're asking other people? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Well, it's a for someone who might not know, like, what is
sorry.
a shot of espresso?
Misunderstood you. So a lot of people have the idea that espresso is just a type of coffee, like a bean.
Right.
It's not. It's more so a reference to the brewing process or the extraction method. So a shot of espresso is going to be just a small amount, a shot like it would be of whiskey or something, of a very flavor-forward, fairly viscous coffee. That you just end up with a small amount rather than a larger, watery amount. A lot of people also think that it's this insane, like, oh, that's the most caffeinated thing in the world. Similarly, it's not. A single shot of espresso, I think, only has around 60 milligrams of caffeine, which your average 12-ounce cup of coffee has more like 120, I think.
Okay.
The best kind of metaphor or way to explain it that I could think of is it's very similar to a shot of whiskey, like I said, and a beer. So it's like, sure, there's a lot more liquid in the beer, but it's not quite as concentrated. And sure, the flavor of this is, way more intense, but it's much smaller. So it just, people react to concentrations of caffeine very differently. So for some people, espresso for them is very, very intense, even though it's not necessarily more caffeine. It's just delivered quicker.
Right. Yeah. Kind of like straight to the head.
For some people.
So this is kind of like talking about community a little bit, and so the community here with coffee shops and I think breweries, they talk about that, like this third wave, are kind of becoming like the new meeting place and the new like meeting grounds. Do you get a lot of that here that you see like business meetings, or is it more casual, kind of more like people just show up to have fun, or
Here specifically, I feel like it is more casual, kind of just like, we've got a few like high schools very close by, so they'll come in. There's like a little after school like homework rush sometimes, or people just meeting, not like business meetings, but like, hey, old friend, meeting up. Not so much business around here. I know that in Stowe, there's a lot more of that going on. A lot of guys coming in.
The other three shops in general. I think this one is kind of most unique in that regard because we're like in a neighborhood.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. And to that point, there's a cultural crossover. So the show, The Hop and the Bean, is about craft beer and specialty coffee. And so it's usually a person that likes craft beer also likes their specialty coffee as well. They're kind of, like we were talking about, kind of engaging the culture more, and they naturally want to find better drinks as they explore and learn more about them. I think from the sounds of it that you guys are craft beer fans.
Yep, that's us.
Yeah. What styles of craft beer do you guys like, and do you like the coffee beers? Or do you already have feelings about that?
I kind of like everything. I'm a natural IPA guy. I know that's
Sure.
the stock answer. But
Nowadays, yeah.
no, yeah, I mean, I like the coffee beers, like coffee stouts and stuff like that. It depends on which ones, obviously. And a lot has to do with the weather for me. Like right now, I'm not going to go drink a thick coffee beer.
Right.
Because those of you who can't see outside, it's nice and warm. But yeah, I mean, in the winter, I definitely wouldn't hesitate at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I'm a super moody beer drinker.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where there are times that it's like, even if I, have a 6-pack of something in my refrigerator, if I, go outside, I'm like, I gotta go get beer. This isn't gonna do it. This is just,
I am the same way.
Yeah. So it's just like it's really so environmentally dictated.
No, absolutely.
I've really been loving the New England IPA thing being everywhere all the time. I'm sure a lot of people are already tired of it, but I really like it as a style. So
Yeah, so do I.
I'm just happy.
No, I had so I was at Hi Ho a couple days ago, and they had a coffee ale. It wasn't a dark beer, but it was. I've had some coffee lighter ales before, and the coffee flavor is almost like it just tastes like watered down coffee a little bit. But that one was like pretty well balanced with the coffee and a little bit of the ale. And then I also had a hazy pale ale. I forget the name of it, but it was delicious. It was really good.
I know they came out with a new. They had High Hazy Ho for a while, and then
Yeah.
they have a new one that it's just a one-word name, but I can't think of what it's called. I haven't had it yet either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend in Maine that kind of showed me those New England style IPAs a few years ago.
Yeah.
From New England, the Bissell Brothers and Hill Farmstead and all those places, and
Yeah.
it's just like, this is crazy. I can't wait until this gets other places.
Yeah.
And like this
Now,
was at the
yeah.
summer of
Yeah.
terminal velocity for New England
Oh man,
IPAs.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Arche makes a really good one. The Whirlpool Party.
I've had that one.
It's really good.
That's been my favorite.
That's a bummer.
New England IPA.
I was down there last week, I think, and they didn't have it.
Yeah, they brewed like a batch of it, and then it ran out really quick, and they did another batch of it, and then that ran out. So I don't know. Hopefully,
And they've done a couple of them with like different hops. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yep.
Or the
Yep.
Whirlpool was Citra.
Yeah,
there's
this-
like 4 of them.
yeah, it was Citra Mosaic, I think, and there's a couple other ones in there.
Yeah, Whirlpool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. We should go ahead
Yeah, it was
and
awesome.
do this.
But, yeah, I don't know if they have any
Right.
currently brewed.
Oh,
yeah.
I also have to quickly add, because it totally ties into this.
Yeah.
And what you said about
Yeah.
you being seemingly shamefully saying I'm an IPA guy, or whatever, is my girlfriend showed me. It was something on Instagram that just said IPAs are pumpkin spice lattes for men.
Yeah, that's
I
like
heard
the weird
that.
mean stigma
I saw
now.
something. Yeah.
I don't think that's fair, personally.
Right. No. Yeah. I don't think that's accurate at all. But that's funny you say, because I was thinking about that, and I was going to try to work it in the conversation. So good job. So lastly, I've been trying this thing. I named it. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this name or not, because it doesn't really translate to the coffee language. But the last call. 5 random questions about coffee and beer. Specifically today about coffee. So. They start out a little bit lighter, and they will go a little bit weirder as they get to the 5th one. So, if you could travel to number 1, if you could travel to any coffee origin to get, the single origin bean, which one would it be? Or where would you go for it?
You want me to go first, or you want to do this?
I don't know. Yeah. Sure.
I would go to Ethiopia.
Dang it.
It's selfishly my favorite origin, but also it's kind of regarded as the birthplace of coffee,
Okay.
and they have a very specific kind of coffee ritual, and I think that'd be an awesome thing to participate in.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I was going to say the same thing. Or just any sort of like African region.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
yeah.
I would go to other places, but not for necessarily coffee-related reasons.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this may be a broad question, but what's the best food pairing, the best thing to eat with coffee?
Rich chocolate cake.
I kind of agree. I like something sweet.
Yeah.
It's not coincidence that most coffee shops have, pastries and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So number 3, Donald Trump walks in the door.
Oh no.
What? And this could be like. I didn't think about this before, but it could have like your political affiliation tied into it. But what coffee would you serve Donald Trump?
I don't know how real I want to get here. I would probably ask him to leave.
Okay.
At risk of losing my job, I would ask him.
Okay. So nothing. So no coffee.
I would not serve no coffee.
We will not serve you.
Yeah, I wouldn't love it. I don't know. Probably just give him a house blend.
Yeah.
Get him on his way. Here you go, Mr. President.
Okay.
Making no eye contact.
How do you spell this again?
Take this and go.
Oh, okay. So moving on.
Yeah.
So I've seen. So we talk about coffee beer. I've seen like coffee flavored ice cream, coffee soap, coffee candles. What is the craziest coffee product that you have seen?
I don't know. I guess I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Apart from those, and I have used this actually, thanks to my girlfriend, a coffee face scrub,
Oh.
like an exfoliant.
Yeah.
It smells nice.
Yeah. I was just
You
gonna
know,
say,
you
it
can't-
smell nice
yeah.
and
I guess that's weird.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I asked this question on last episode with the Missing Mountain guys. We got some pretty good answers. What historical figure, fiction or nonfiction, would you share a cup of coffee with?
know we're gonna need
Would you-
another-
Would you like to share a cup of coffee?
25 minutes.
Man,
I think someone said last week the Chris Farley character, the guy down by the river. Like I don't know why that was an answer, but it was.
That's a good answer.
It was.
Oh, man.
that's a tough question. There have been so many people that have lived.
It's true. That's by sheer
Just by numbers,
volume. Yeah.
And so many fictional people that
Numerically.
have not,
Yep,
actually.
Yeah.
but are not off the table in this situation.
Right. All right, I'm going to say the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know if this is the true answer, but I think Ace Ventura,
Okay.
and not Jim Carrey, like the actual,
Right.
Yeah. the
like
character.
Ace Ventura. Maybe when I'm in Africa, in a region, he's
That
there.
seems like a nightmare combination to me, Ace Ventura and coffee.
Man, yeah.
That's what you want. That you don't want to just see Ace Ventura. when
You
he's,
want that.
in the dumps. You want him
I don't. I just
ready to
want
go.
him chewing that gum with his head out the window.
Just see him drive past.
That's all I need. I
But
think
yeah, that's my answer.
that's
Okay.
interesting.
I like it.
My stock response for anything to do with historical figures is Leonardo da Vinci. So I'm gonna go with that.
Man, that's way more sophisticated.
Whatever
than
I
mine.
have to do to talk to that man, apart from die and go to the past, I don't know if those are my only options. Yeah, that's my answer.
I like it. Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. That's all I got today. But do you have any questions from our live audience there, Mr. Producer? Any,
I've got, there's a producer's wife out there, so his mother of four could really use a drink over here. She's dragging to get over the day.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently I've got work here.
Okay. All right. We'll get you something from her. So, kind of in closing, the Northeast Ohio coffee scene continues its progressive advancement. The Nervous Dog continues to play a pivotal role as a staple for caffeinated Akronites. Whether it's grabbing a bag of beans for your morning brew or stopping by at the convenient locations, Nervous Dog Coffee Bar is a phenomenal coffee shop stop. Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Hop of the Bean. Until next time, I'm Buzz Andrews, and I'm all hopped up.